So we are. Hello, everyone. Give me 1 second. Like always, made a promise and I failed to keep it. I will explain in a little bit. Give me 1 second. Actually, I can do two things at the same time. I set a schedule earlier for a live stream and then I posted on X and I spent about half an hour trying to activate that live stream, and I couldn't because it is my first time doing a schedule. Because it is my first time doing a schedule. Because it is my first time doing a schedule. Oh, the reverb. So I have to start a new one, and I have to post the link because the link that I posted earlier, it's it didn't work. Okay. Thank you for waiting. Always a problem. But today is a better day. So right now is about 1 o'clock. I'm still on schedule. Let me check what I posted earlier so that I can remember the topic. Okay. So we're going to be discussing the discussion topics for today are what is the Godzillionaires Club, the five pillars explained, which is self transformation, superpower, impact, monetization, and karaoke with Khan. Who doesn't want to sing? And then the third is I will share a poem from the book. And from now on, each session, I'm going to go through each poem, right? And the last one is I will be answering questions that you guys have specifically to this live stream. So I don't usually drink coffee at this time, but hopefully I'm not the only one in here again, like the first couple of times, which is okay. It teaches me how to speak. Everything I do right now practically teaches how to be on stage speaking once everything is set up. I know I gave myself plenty of time because I rather under promise and over deliver instead of under deliver and over promise, if you know what I mean. Okay. Shall we start? Oh, let's wait for another 2 minutes. Let's see who's popping in. Wow, it's been 5 minutes already. Okay, we'll start. So, what is the Godzillionaires Club? I started out as a joke, semi joke, semi wasn't. when I first started my journey posting on YouTube, created a brand that represent me. At first, it was Khan, just Khan. Then I guess some of the channels that I followed, they talked about business and how important it is to brand your business so that it is easy to remember when people read it. People know exactly what your business is about, and pretty much like straightforward. Make it easy, make it memorable, make it straight to the point, right? And that was the whole point. And I think it has. I think Ralph Smart, Infinite Waters on YouTube. When I first started, I follow his channel. I've learned a lot from him. He is kind of like up there with Tio Swan, and being semi spiritual. I don't consider myself to be spiritual, but I understand that everything is energy, and the philosophy of Buddhism and scientists like Carl Sagan. There's a few more. Um, but pretty much I've learned from the scientific community, I've learned from the spiritual community, the Buddhist community, and then all of the time that I spent in nature. I don't consider myself to be a spiritual person, but I understand that everything is energy. And when we observe history, all of the wars, all of the killings, all of the eating meat, all of these energies that are recycling happening over and over and over. When we look at history, history keeps on repeating itself over and over and over. And it makes you wonder, what is God? Now, when it comes to religion, we, as I've learned from documentaries, religion is a great thing, but also one of the most devastated things that happen to humanity. Because when we look at history, a lot of the wars that were created, it was religion. Sure, people fought over territory, people fought over control, uh, you know, dominant, but religion still the main core of violence. And the reason why, in my opinion, religion can be good if we use it in a right way. What do I mean by use it in a right way? A prayer, live by the Ten Commandments, live by the Dharma, uh, the eightfold path, the pretty much just the basic of any religion. You just live by it. You don't preach it. You don't have to glamorize it. You don't have to ride or die with it. You just live by the words, and they're very, very basic. But we spend so much time fighting. My religion is better than your religion. Your religion is not as good as my religion. So what's the point, Khan? What's the point? All of that explanation, what's the point? God, God created men and women or humans in the image of himself. What does that mean? I'm not a religious person, like I said, but I do believe pretty much exactly what I just said. We all have a God that is in us, and we should live by it. Not I'm not talking about radicalization. I'm talking about just be a decent, courteous human being. That's all you have to do. And it comes down to love, compassion, understanding. All of those are connected, all of those vocabularies, right? The only time I feel like, sure, we can hate people for a lot of reasons, but understanding is one of them. When we don't understand something, we hate it. And my definition of a God is love. And I'm not talking about a man and a woman, it can be anything. Love frequency, the highest frequency. Because think about it, if we if we have hate in our heart, eventually we will destroy everything and then ourselves. But when we love, we multiply. And when we vibrate the love frequency, life is better, right? All of the shits that are happening in the world right now, people lie, people say things that will benefit them or that will make them money, that will, words have no meaning, like no character whatsoever, everything goes. And in my opinion, these people are suffering in a sense where, imagine waking up every day and it's like you're going to war, and you say the things that you don't mean, you cause havoc for humanity, you're destroying the resources, the earth. There is no exploration, there is no advancement to that kind of mentality. But think about it, when we love, imagine a family. We don't have to think too far. I always give the example of a family because the analogy is so easy to understand. Think of each country as a family. And then if you want to go deeper, think of Earth as a family, right? If we take care of one and another, if we understand what mom and dad supposed to be doing, older brothers and sisters supposed to be doing, younger brothers and sisters, aunties, grandmas, grandpas. If we have a culture where we understand the the basic principles of each individual, how they can play into a bigger part of society, think of the advancement that we can have, from medicine to technology to digital money to exploration to food. Honestly, we're at a point where we don't have to kill animal. We can pretty much print meat in a lab in a good way, not the crazy way, because when there is fear, when we operate out of fear, everything is dark. Like, instead of medicine making people better, we want to make them sick so we can make crazy medicine that will give that will not heal them completely, that will make them come back. And then food, we can make healthy food, but no, we choose to make food in a way where people get sick from it. And money, instead of abundance, we make it scarce. And when it comes to exploration, I don't know who is telling the truth. Have we been to the moon? I don't know, and I really don't care. But if I were to put on my conspiracy hat, I don't think we've been to the moon. I know, it's crazy. Imagine coming to my event and you're like, man, what the hell is this guy saying? So between the vibration of fear and love, when we operate out of love, abundance, everything We have everything, and we just grow together, do whatever it is that humans were put here to do, right? But when we operate out of fear, is exactly what we're seeing right now. You know, pandemics, wars, natural disasters, natural resources are being depleted. What else? Social media drive certain narratives, brainwashing people, and then with the digital money, we don't. You guys got to be really, really careful, okay? With the digital money, got to support the company that for freedom. And what I mean by that, I'm the kind of person that believe in the rule of law, but it has to apply to everyone. Like for example, if you run a company and you provide a service, make the money. If people speak their opinion, let them speak their opinion. But if you're the owner, of a company and people say something that you don't like, because when you're in business, you're connected with other people, and it's like a game that you're in. You freeze their money, or the rule of law is not clear. Uh, they give you vague answers. Oh, suspicious activity. Oh, they don't tell you the reason. Basic thing, okay? Just very basic things that we should be aware of. And I'm glad that there are companies out there, that are centralized. Centralized. Sure, I don't like the idea of centralized. I do believe that there is, I'm not being extreme. I'm in the middle. Like some of I call them friend. I have never met any of these people in real life, but I follow them on on social media over the years. And when you follow someone for so long, you're kind of like, oh, that's my friend. But for the record, I'm not part of any gangs. I'm not part of any movement. I'm just a common guy with a common life by myself. Um, I've never 99.9999% of the people that I follow on X, on YouTube, on all of my social media, I've never met them. Just through online, we can be friends because people give off good energy, and I'm learning from them. But don't ever come to my house with your crazy stories and bullshit, okay? Where were we? Damn, that's what happened when I talk too fast. Lose my train of thought. 18 minutes. Nobody's here. So let's go back to. I lost my train of thought there, but let's go back to the love and fear. So all of that 20 minutes talk was to explain why I came up with the Godzillionaires Club. God is love. That's all it is, and I want to use it as a the name. It has to do with the way that we see things. Like for example, if you're being positive every day, even a bad day can become a good day if you're being positive. And I mean being logical, right? Not going to a funeral, started laughing. Being positive mean you go to a funeral, someone that you love dearly, they pass away. You go to the funeral, sure, you're sad, but you understand that life goes on, and during the time that person was alive, you had a good time. You share good memory, and that's what I mean by being positive, not going all crazy. Oh, we're gonna party, hookers and cocaine at the funeral. No, 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 no. But zillionaire. What is zillionaire? Well, we have millionaire, we have billionaire, and we have trillionaire. Then we have zillionaire. Why zill? Zill. Because Z, from H Z, Z at the last alphabet. Zill, the same as bill, mill. So I just made it up, but I'm pretty sure it was there already. Now it means two things, okay? Two things meaning that you got to have money, you got to be wealthy. How much is the question? Some people, they're in the millions, they're in the billions, and potentially in the trillions in the next couple of years, but they're unbearable. And it is never enough. It is always more and more. And then there are people out there that have 100,000, 500,000, or even a million, and they're happy with life. They're living their life. They're like, they go on day to day, living their life, watering plants, wake up, coffee, go exercise. They are the most kind people on this planet. So, my friend, it is the mindset. And when you think of the word Godzillionaire, right, is rich in love. And when you are wealthy, rich and wealthy, I prefer wealthy. Wealthy in love, it means that you have everything. Now, I'm not being delusional when I came up with a name. There's a reason why I'm building it. There's a reason why I learned about assets. There's a reason why I'm building my personal brand. There's a reason why I do what I do, so that I'm building something so I don't have to worry about money. How much, that is up to you. Only individuals can answer that question for themselves. How much do you gotta have for you to be content? So when you think of the word Godzillionaire, think of, I'm wealthy in love, but I'm also wealthy in my finance as well. And this is where the five pillars come in. Club, yes. Once you understand the concept, you're in the club. You know that's why it's called Godzillionaires with apostrophe S, and then club is a club. The five pillar. What is superpower? That's the first pillar. Superpower, simply creativity, or something that you have done on your free time ever since a child. For example, me, I love singing. I love, let's just stick with singing, okay? Rapping or just music in general. I love music, especially singing, writing, rapping. But I'm never good at it. It's not. I'm not a prodigy at it. Some people are born as a prodigy. I'm not. I just love music. So I spent a lot of time throughout my life. I spent a lot of time by myself, especially in nature and in music. Uh, and now that I learned how to be on camera and stuff like that, I see myself as a creative person. That's my superpower. I'm not a businessman. I'm not a salesman. I'm a creativity person, but I have to learn how to sell. I have to learn the mindset of a business person. But my core profession is creativity. I know I'm just, when I speak and I use vocabulary from, like, I mix up vocabulary because in any language you use certain vocabulary in a certain environment, but mixing them is great. Why? Because when you mix them, you don't confuse people, but when people talk to you, there's something about it that will make them remember you, or or it's kind of like you're trying to connect this environment and this environment together when you speak, when you use vocabularies and you just mix them together. Only sometimes. I'm not that smart, but I because documentaries helped me learn different topics, and that's how I'm able to do it. Now, my vocabulary is not that wide, but I can manage. I mean, I can read scriptures and stuff like that. I don't understand, but I'll read it. So, superpower, it's just something that you love to do without thinking, I'm going to make money. But eventually, you have to make money, okay? I apologize. That was the second pillar, not the first pillar. The first pillar is self transformation. Self transformation. What is self transformation? Well, when we look at animals, for example, I love to give this example. I give this example so many times, but let's try something different. Imagine you're born as a dragon, or a tiger, or a lion, or a human. If you observe the dragon or the lifetime of a lion, what does it do? Now, ask yourself, if the lion were to observe you, what would it think? So, self transformation is the realization, why am I here? What am I doing here? It, you start questioning yourself and your purpose, because most of us, we go through life without ever questioning it. One of the downsides of being a social species, because most of our lives were born in a family, and then we're connected to a culture, and then our culture is connected to other cultures around the world, and we just live to live. Now, there are exceptions. Actually, there are a lot of exceptions. That's why we have psychologists, we have philosophers, we have psychiatrists, we have religions. I do believe, mm, like priests, monks, nuns, um, all of these people are very conscious. I'm not saying the majority of people are not conscious. We just don't question why we're here. And the moment you realize, okay, self transformation, once you understand your environment, there's no other way but to improve. Because with my situation, right, I was always the 9 to 5 kind of guy. Uh, After high school, college, I think college was when I started. I went to college, but pretty much party on the weekend, and then even up to till I was like 32, 33. That was when I had my awakening moment. Because in my mid 20s to my 30s, I was still with friends, with girlfriends and stuff like that. So I didn't think much about it. I was just following society. You go to school, you get a degree, you get a job, you have a girlfriend, and then you have a family. Uh, and I think after the last girlfriend, I think I was like around 26 at the time. And after her, I spent most of my time watching documentaries. but I was still on the weekend. I was still hanging out with my guy friends, and we got together on the weekend either at went to the club or at a buddy's house, and we would just drink, talk shit, bonfire, just very typical guys activities. And but I also saw the picture of, like, okay, growing up in America, like I said earlier, go to school, get a job, no, go to school, get a degree, get a job, have a family, uh, buy a house, then retire at 65 or 67. And that, my friend, is the majority of the playbook for most Americans. And then I thought to myself, man, because most of my life I was never poor, but I was never rich, just enough. Because, in America, when you have a job, everything is debt. So when you have a job, you work 40 hours a week, everything is like credit card from your card, your spendings. Um, you use a credit card and you work and you pay it off. Like every 2 weeks, you get a paycheck. Some went to insurance, some went to rent, some went to credit cards. I remember even when I was like in my 30 early 30s, right? I was working, and I remember every paycheck I ended up with like 5 or 600. But yeah, so but for me, as a single person, that was enough. I didn't need much. I was able to pay my rent. I was able to afford grocery. I was able to hang out with my friends on the weekend and got drunk. I mean, what a life. But then I didn't want it because I saw I saw, actually, when you have been doing the same thing for so long, you're just kind of like, what the hell am I doing? Like, this is not how I want to go out. So that's when I started making some changes. At first, I quit smoking the cigarettes and the cigar weed, or just cannabis, and then started hanging out less on the weekend. It takes some time. Like, the transformation, it's not a one day, one night. It's not even a year. It's gonna be a while. Okay, and then you're gonna lose some friends. Um, but that's just the reality of it. And you start doing things the way that you want. You start focusing on your life, and that's where the transformation comes in. Once the transformation comes in, because when you start spending time by yourself, most likely you're going to find out what you love. And when you love something, you're going to try to reach out to the right kind of people. And for me, that was being on putting myself on social media and follow all of the people that are sharing the same kind of mindset or topic that I want to learn from, and I just follow them. And that's how you start developing your superpower. Once you developed your superpower, what is next? Impact. Now, it doesn't have to be like, oh my god, I'm going to change the world, I'm going to do something amazing. You can, but it also go back to Godzillionaire. What is Godzillionaire? Building a company with 5 to 10 people, will that make you happy? Become a president or a prime minister, would that make you happy? Become a businessman, and how big is your company? 500 or more or less? What makes you happy? But whatever impact you choose to do, hopefully is a positive one. It's all good. It's all good. You can be the leader of the new world, and I'm okay with that. But positive impact, you start focusing your time on doing the things that you want or love. And that it usually is related to your superpower because you're good at it. When you have time, you start doing the things that you love. You put money aside, and that is where I'm currently at. Like, able to write, able to sing. I've expressed my creativity for the last 6 years. Like, I documented, started out with like, I think my Odyssey channel has the longest history, then Rumble, then X and YouTube. X and YouTube came at the same time. But yeah, from make learning how to be on video, how to be comfortable in front of the camera, able to share some of my old songs 10 years ago, started writing. So I went through phases of my life, and then I just kind of put them together. And now the fact that I'm comfortable in front of the camera, I figure, okay, that is my superpower. Now you can't. The next pillar is monetization. Monetization. Without, you can love what you do. You can have a passion, but if it doesn't pay, then you cannot continue that passion. And why is it the fourth pillar and not the first, the second, or the third? I don't know. It just, I like to frame it that way. I like to frame it that way, meaning before I start my journey, I've learned about business and assets. So when I went into social media, I somewhat wanted to get paid from social media, but then, you know, when I joined, I knew it was going to be a long game. Like, people that made money after the first or second year, you have no idea the amount of time, the amount of tricks, the amount of effort that they put in to grow their channel. Uh, and I've seen a lot of burnouts. So even though I love making videos, sharing my creativity, chasing the algorithms or the changes to get paid, um, it's just not my thing. So I go solo. Solo meaning I produce what I want to produce. I you know on my time, nobody's censoring me other than social media. Like, nobody is paying me to say this, to say that. I share exactly how I feel, and I think for me that is freedom, and I love it. Now, eventually, yes, I do want to get paid, but you want to come into the game of, like, just produce, get feedback, produce, get feedback, and eventually you'll get paid. But it will take longer than what you expect. Um, when started, I kind of gave myself 3 to 5 years, and now it's almost 6 years, right? Am I disappointed? Little bit, because if I say that I'm not, then I would be lying. But here is the best part. I'm able to have all of these skill sets, which enable me to start the retreat. We're not going to discuss about the retreat. You can read that in the thread on X. But it's everything is a preparation from from I didn't plan on, like, when I was little, when I wrote all those pieces, when I fell in love with music, then I went through the lowest peaks of my life. That's when I started writing poetry, and then watching documentaries. Everything was just random. It wasn't planned. It was random. And when I look back at it, everything was a preparation for this, for for the business. And I don't know if that was luck. I don't know if that was whatever you call it, but it just happened. So the monetization that is going to be the best part is meeting up with you guys, and the reason why I'm doing this live stream as the reason why I'm doing this live stream is to practice myself, to explain more what the Godzillionaires Club is all about, the five pillars, and then kind of go through this my book that I did. I have a surprise for for you guys or the patrons, but you can you can go on X, my friend, and just read it for free, or you can go on Canva. I have a digital version. I used Canva at the time, and then what I did was I used their AI. I forgot which AI, which chat bot that I used, but I inputted the original version, the one that I wrote, and then it helped me with making a digital version. So you can get that for free, and then there are two more other books that I also did, and they're pretty much from me. The like Unspoken Love, and then the other one is like it has a cover of 369, but it's pretty much it's energy, like from an atom to a supernova, right? The process of being something that's so small become a supernova, bang, and here we are again. And then karaoke with Khan. I love to sing, and the reason why all of these years I keep posting and I share with you exactly who I am. I don't know everything. I changed. I get all of my information are public. I get all of my information are public. Uh, there's a difference when people don't know something and they learn and they change, and then there is the other, uh, you know, intentional ignorance, meaning pretending to be ignorance, but they have a purpose behind what they believe. And those people are scary. But the ones that are willing to change, you can see it, right? If they make a mistake, they are not afraid that like, hey, I voted for him because he said this, he said that, and I believe them. And he turned. I don't want to get too political, don't want to mention any names, but that's what I mean. If you go through my channel, you see the changes. And I learn. But back to the lost my train of thought again. But go back to the karaoke thing. I love to sing, and the reason why I keep posting about myself, show you who you are, is to build friendships. Because the people that I expect to first show up at the club, most likely the audience, and the patrons are the people that share the same kind of mindset, meaning that they've been ahead of me. They know um, they've been ahead of me. They have what I want. I follow them and I learn from them. And I also expect them to be at the club. I'm not at a point where I'm reaching out yet, but eventually, I've only asked a few people to, publicly. Well, before I kind of put it out there into the public, but now when it comes to like asking people, hey, you want to be the patron for the Godzillionaires Club, I ask very specific people who, um, and why one Bitcoin? You wonder. Well, it has to do with cryptocurrency because you know, for me, it's like I said, you can get it for free, but why one Bitcoin? In Costa Rica, I believe that was 2023. And at the time, I was very into crypto. I'm still into crypto, but not as much anymore. But I'm still into crypto. I understand the market, the cycles, and stuff like that. And a lot of people, money is not an issue. Money is just money. I remember some of the people that came up. My money is just money. You should never worry about money. Um, and we're here to make the world a better place. Um, bank the unbanked, and then pretty much a good talk. And I wanted to put it to the test. Especially, there's a lot of upstanding, upright Bitcoin people. You kind of, if you know my crypto journey, started out with Bitcoin, went into altcoins, went back to Bitcoin, into altcoins. Now I believe the whole system. It's not just Bitcoin anymore. I do see some good projects out there, but the problem is in the crypto space there are many players with money, and right now I think it's just gambling. Even good projects out there that exist, they get buried in the sand, in the mud, but eventually it will rise. If you look at PayPal, if you look at WAP, if you look at a lot of these big payment, I don't know about Stripe, but they start incorporating all of these coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum's, you know, maybe Solana, BNB, but pay attention, because when payment system as big as PayPal, WAP, they start incorporating, and especially banks. If banks start incorporating, crypto, then that's where we're heading. So that's why I start seeing it, because it's manifesting. You can see it. So I charge one Bitcoin because it's just my creativity, and I want to put it out there because a lot of people got into crypto at the early stage. One Bitcoin is nothing. And I do believe that all of the work that I put out there, if people truly support me, it's just money, right? And a lot of people in the crypto space are ballers with a cause. That is why it's not for everyone. I like people with a cause, and the way that I see it, I just keep on providing value. That is the only thing that I have for sale. And I mean, I started out with 42 copies, and I currently have only 14 left. And by the way, it's gonna be laminated. I'm going to laminate it. Oh, I just spilled the beans. But anyway, also because yeah, I want to laminate the whole thing, each page, the whole front and back, so that it is so it doesn't get wet, it doesn't get destroyed. It's just good in general for long term. Um, and I'll keep a few of the original ones with this photo. This photo was not taken by me. Everything else is written photo taken by me. But this one, I got it from a no copyright website. I forgot which one it was. But I would like to, I would keep like one or two, but then I want to redesign the front cover, and there is going to be so I have 14. Maybe I'll do five. One is going to be totally in black, and then the gold type lion, and then the other one is just black and white. um, but sure, it is money, but I don't think of it as money. You know what I mean? It's just energy. And I feel like if you do the work, if you just kind of keep doing, well, I do what I do. I just like, I'm not rushing, I'm not doing anything. Like the retreat is not going to start in 2030. So, and I just keep doing my work. If people see the value in it, great, I appreciate it, help me out. uh, but if you don't see the value in it, you can get it for free. And just kind of read through it. A lot of the time when we do something, we always like, hey, can I get this in return? Like, what do I get reading your pains, right? Like, I don't know. Why don't you read it, and then you come onto the live stream, and then we can have a chat. So I put myself out there so that when you come to the club or the retreat, I mean, I expect to know you by then, right? That's why all these years I'm building relationships. I have a few people that I have in mind that I want to invite to the retreat. But the last part, karaoke with Con, it's just a bond, like for us to connect. Because I expect all of the people that come to the first, second, or third event. I know all of you guys. Um, as of right now, I'm assuming there's not going to be more than an estimate of 25 people. It's going to be very small group of 20, around there. But the last pillar is more of a having fun kind of thing. And as you know, if you follow me on X, I have a twisted sense of humor. I like to laugh. Um, you know, if you know me, I think you do, but I like to be happy. Sure, some of the shit that I talk about, in my opinion, I still believe them. But if you don't think positively, knowing all of these, or at least have an understanding of what the hell is going on in the world, and if you don't have a positive or a happy mindset, you're not going to survive, my friend. You're not going to survive. You're going to be a hater. You going to suffer a lot, okay? And that is the five pillar. What is next? I think the next is I read you a poem, and then since we don't have anyone in here, I can just go ahead and end the live stream without answering questions. But if people do show up, I will stay a little bit longer, and we'll go from there. Okay. So, by the way, go on Twitter. It's on my pinned tweet. You can read it for free. But here it goes. Because I can't do it when. Let's see. I want to show it on the screen. Author, which is me, just a common guy with a common life. See the world through black and white. Stemmed from curiosity of the mind. Human nature is within me, you, and us. Alone I learn, and along I burn, with twists and turns because I was concerned. My motive is unity plus diversity, but understanding the complexity, I can only weave words in poetry and flow with humanity. Am I dark or am I light is not a question to be justified. As a species, where do we ought to be? That is pretty much my whole life story. The universe, in my eyes, is duality. Alive, I am, and present as can be. Um, let's break it down, okay? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. So, as you know, over and over, I have mentioned just a common guy with a common life. Let me put it closer so that people can see. Okay. Just a common guy with a common life, seeing the world through black and white, right? Everything in life, up and down, left and right, negative, positive, kind of like a Taurus, like a North Pole, South Pole, um, stem from curiosity of the mind. Now the mind, it always moving, thinking. That is why in during meditation or silence, that is when you're not thinking and you are in your higher self. Then human nature is within me, you and us. It means that we all share things that are in common. We feel, we love, we smile, we want, you know, decent job, make decent money, support, have spend time with good people, spend time with family. Very common among humans, right? Alone I learn and alone I burn. So this was the time when I was at the lowest peaks of my life, learning from documentaries. Man, really changed my world upside down. Like everything I was taught turned out to be the opposite. And I was like, man, what the hell? Evil ass people, man. Why can I get this? Oh, there we go. And the reason why I watched a bunch of documents, I started learning about what the hell's going on in the world because I care. Like, why are people suffering? Why are people sick? Why are people poor? Like, why? Um, my motive, straightforward, unity and diversity, meaning that we might have different skin color, we might from a different country, we might have a different belief system, but we're still humans, right? Um, Even though understanding that I want unity, but the complexity, meaning that I don't see we're at that point yet where we're still hating one and another. Even like when you live in America, you see people being racist, towards Asian, towards black, even you know white. When you go to Asia, like the racism is different, but it's still there. It's human nature. It doesn't like we have the same skin color, the same hair color, but sometimes we just racist because of social class or the way people dress, how people are. So that is the complexity of humans as of right now. So I can't do much, but I can only weave words into poetry and flow with humanity, meaning that I'm just here. I'm an observer, and I just point out. I share everything in my poems. It's kind of like a piece of music trying to like what Tupac did, like what in his era. Even with Eminem, he was explaining the American culture at the time. That's what I'm doing. Am I dark or am I light? It's not a question to be justified. I mean, pretty, if you have doubt about who I am, because sometimes I make jokes, sometimes I interpret a topic from a dark side, and then sometimes I talk about spirituality, being a good person. That is the whole picture. That is a duality of thinking. I call it bipolar thinking, right? So you don't have to worry about whether I'm dark or light. Just worry about the species. As a species, where are we going? Like, and my whole life, that's pretty much my whole life. The universe in my eyes is duality, and understanding that I'm here, I'm alive, day by day, one day at a time, and be as present as I can be, right? I know a lot of you, if you follow me on X, you're like, man, this guy's crazy. Believe it or not, only when I'm on X, when I go outside, when I'm off my phone, I do things that I love, okay? I enjoy driving around, watching the sunset, the wind blowing in my face, the waves, the wave, the ocean, like the trees, they're gorgeous to me. Like I cherish every moment of it. And that is the first piece. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. As we each live stream, I'm gonna go through one of them and then explain to you because it's deeper than just my pains. For all of you freaks out there, I don't want to hear your pains. Relax, relax. There's always something behind it. It's not subliminal messaging. It just when I wrote it, I was in pain. I was at the lowest peak of my life, and now thinking back, it's kind of like, hey, maybe there is a better way to think about it. So each one has a very specific way of looking at things. All right, I did it again. 1 hour is good. Nobody was in the live stream, no chat. Oh no. Maybe this whole time the mic wasn't working. Or was it? No. Okay, my friend. Well, thank you for watching. I will catch you next time. I hopefully the mic was on this whole time because I don't see it moving from my screen here. But anyway, much love, and I'll see you in the next video or the next live stream, which will be soon.